Good morning. You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO, Santa Cruz, AM 1340 KOMY, La Selva Beach, FM 1041, KSCO.com, 1007. A beautiful Saturday morning, December 16th, 2017. Jason Struby at the deck. Let's get a quick look at your KSCO King of the Hill traffic. Light traffic out there for now. Highway 117, 101, 85, 152, 129, 156, 183, 68, 218, Highway 9. All looking clear out there for now. Weather today sunny, beautiful, crisp, and clear with the high near 62. Tomorrow about the same, high winds in the afternoon through tonight. Clear skies overnight with the low near 42. Dave Michaels in the Dave Cave right now. We're doing the weekend sale today and tomorrow. Hooking it up with Healthy Start packs, BTT, and everything else. 2300 Portola Drive today and tomorrow. Only 10:08. Time for the Saturday special with MZ.
Hey, Jason, how you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks. How are you?
Am I coming through okay?
Yeah. Very
too
good.
hot, too
perfect.
too low, whatever.
Right on the money.
Okay, good. I'm bringing up the connection here so I can control the phones.
Good.
It was a horrible internet connection here from World Headquarters, but now I think it's much better. Good. I could see, and it looks like we have someone on line one. Do we?
Correct.
Who in the world is it?
Their name starts with a P.
Oh, and they're calling the show?
Yeah, I think it was arranged by you.
Not really. Not really.
Can you see the name?
Yeah, now I can see it.
Okay, well,
Someone named Patricia?
I think so. Not
what
familiar.
did Patricia say?
She said she was calling for you to be on your show.
You Patricia. Not Patricia. Not Patricia.
I was doing a bunch of things all at once when I took the call.
Okay, it's not Patricia.
My bad.
No. Let's find out who it really is. It's
Geez.
not Patricia.
Now I have a phone
It's Patrice.
situation. Okay. You're going to have to give me 1 second here.
Okay, we have to put Patrice on. I'll do a little tap dance. I'm eating delicious pork sausage for breakfast here at KSCO at World Headquarters, while Jason is running around figuring how to put Patricia on. And it's not Patricia, it's Patrice.
Okay, we should be good.
Okay, Patrice.
Good morning.
No. There you are. There you are. Patrice is calling from Vegas.
Yes,
now
I am.
Remember. Patrice, how can I thank you for calling? And Jason was rushing around like a chicken with his head cut off, and that's why he wrote Patricia. And I said, there's no Patricia who's calling me. Oh, but then I recognized your cell phone number.
There you go.
Now,
Yeah.
see here, Patrice, you haven't been on with us for a long, long time.
Right.
And, this is not good, because people forget who you are.
Well, we don't want that.
No. Patrice, who is sort of like poor old MZ, in that she is one of the last independent media owners left in the world, because all of the media companies have been swallowed up by mega media companies and conglomerates and so forth. And Patrice is the owner of TPG Incorporated, which is Times Publishing Group, and that is the local publisher of the Aptos Times, the Capitola Times, Capitola Soquel Times, I think, right? And Scotts Valley Times, right, Patrice?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And you're the busiest person in the world. But I caught up with you. I managed to catch up with you and said, can we talk to you about the state of independent media and how we're all about to go down the toilet and so forth? And you said, well, I'm very busy doing this thing in Vegas. So then I said, well, can you be with us for part of the time? And you said, sure. So here you are.
Yeah. Yes.
The ball is in my court. Has it been fun, or has it been more fun or more misery to be an independent media owner in the last 5 or 10 years? What would you say?
It's absolutely been more fun, and the reason that it's been fun is because of the connections that we make with the community. We love working with the nonprofits. We love promoting events. We love highlighting local sports. And it's absolutely been more fun.
Oh, well, good. So you're looking forward to it being even more fun yet. Am I correct?
Well, yeah. The challenge has been that people confuse community papers with dailies. I understand the challenges that the daily papers have, but we generate our own news, and so it's unique. They can only find it on our website or in our papers. And so it really helps to bind the community in terms of relying on that local news source. And I think that's one of the reasons that we've been able to thrive and be successful and have so much community engagement.
Yeah. Well, so we're sort of the same way, I think, here at KSCO.
You are. Yes, I think so.
And as far as I know, there's no other radio station left in the country like us, because it's so expensive, to be on the air. And most of the companies that are on the air, can't really afford to be. Because the more you serve your community, the more money it costs to remain on the air, or in your case, to continue publishing a print publication. Hey, a lot of the print publications have been switching over to, to online only. And what do you think of? I know you've been online and print for a long time, right? With the Times.
Yeah.
Do you have any? And you plan to keep the print thing, because that's got to be what's very, very expensive. Just the cost of printing.
Well, it is expensive, and the fact that we mail our publications. But I'll tell you what the print is the driving force. It's the anchor in what we do. Still to this day, yes, people go to our website. We have an e-edition that people read. We do a lot of social media: Instagram, Pinterest. Of course, Facebook, and we find ways to promote our advertisers with those forms of social media. But it's the whole platform and putting it all together and connecting in those various ways so that we reach all the age demographics that keeps us relevant today.
Okay, good. So correct me if I'm wrong. To reach the younger age demographic, they don't really care about the print and holding the paper and turning the pages in the paper. Am I right? That's why you have the online and the social media to connect with those people.
It is why we have it, and I am always amazed at the number of young people that still love to pick up the paper. So there is that segment that still likes to read the paper. And they express it to us. They love the paper. They grew up in our community with their parents reading the paper, and now they love to read the paper.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. I didn't realize that there were young people who even knew what a newspaper was.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that, there's an opinion out there that print isn't relevant anymore, but it's actually still one of the most trusted sources of information. And so when people pick up our paper, they know that what they're reading is real and that our office is right down the street, and they can show up in our office and talk to us about, what's in the paper. And we do have that happen.
Patrice, do you run syndicated feeds of any kind?
No.
In other words, stuff that you don't originate yourself?
No, right. Everything we originate out of our office.
That is pretty cool.
What's cool is the number of people that have been with the paper for so long that are so vested. Noel Smith, our editor, has done a stellar job over the last 13 years. Kathy Race, our office manager, has been with me for 22 years. Michael Oppenheimer, our artist, has been with us for 13 years. So they're really vested in what they do. They love what they do.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Stability is the name of the game in any business, but
Yeah.
Particularly so in a media business, right? Yeah,
Absolutely. You have to have people that know what they're doing.
So you're not, because you're not corporate media, and because we're not corporate media, we're not as concerned or at all concerned about the future. Like people who are stuck in, media, in corporate media jobs. I mean, every one of them is literally a scared rabbit, doesn't know whether they're going to have a job in 30 minutes.
Right. Yes.
So
No, I feel like the community has been very supportive to KSCO as well as Times Publishing Group. They're very responsive. We're in our Adoptive Family season, and the community has been so amazing in terms of supporting our 24 or 25-year-old organization, Adoptive Family. And I feel like
tell us
they're
about
very
that.
responsive.
Tell us about Adoptive Family.
Yeah, so we started Adoptive Family, I want to say it's been 24 years ago, and it started with a local businessman that got cancer. I'm still friends with his family today and been able to watch them all grow up and have families of their own, but he got cancer, and we did a fundraiser for him and his family, and that kind of launched Adoptive Family. We, on average, adopt between 20 and 25 families a year, and we provide everything they could possibly need for an excellent Christmas or holiday. And we allow them to submit to us what would make their Christmas perfect, and we do as good a job as we can in making that happen. And this year, we partnered with Jacob's Heart, so we were able to provide 20 families with every single thing on their wish list to make their Christmas a great one.
Well, you mentioned Jacob's Heart. Lori Butterworth was on with us last week, and she is the guiding, founder and executive director of that organization, which we have been supportive of and will continue to. It's a wonderful, wonderful group of people who help people who I can't think of too many worse things that could happen to a person than to have their kid come down with cancer, just awful. Yeah. And that's what Jacob's Heart is all about. And Jacob is a guy who is now doing well and has conquered his cancer and is 24 years old, I think Lori told me on the radio
Isn't
program.
That amazing?
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
so there's some wonderful, heartwarming stories coming out of Jacob's Heart, and there are lots of other wonderful, worthwhile nonprofits that people can and should support.
Yeah.
So this is the time of year that we encourage people to do. And I didn't know that you had your own favorite thing that you sort of set up yourself a quarter of a century ago.
It's been very rewarding. Last year, I had a young man. We adopted him when he was a year old, just a year old, and he had a brain tumor, and it was not a good prognosis. And after we adopted him, I kind of lost track of him. And last year, what a wonderful surprise during the holiday season, his grandmother called me and said, "I'd like you to meet this young man." And I said, "I didn't know that he's still alive."
Wow.
So they came to the office, and I got to meet him. It was an amazing experience. We sat down and we talked, and I kind of reminisced about what it was like when we adopted him so that he knew. And it was very fun. It's a very, very rewarding experience for everybody that's involved.
Wow. Well, you and I are in sort of somewhat unique positions, but it doesn't matter because we could and should and will and do encourage people who don't own their own radio station or their own group of newspapers, that they can do their own good and get the benefit of use of the newspapers or the radio station. And I don't know about you, I'm assuming that you would encourage that just like we would, right?
Oh, absolutely. And we believe in.
And you don't have to. It doesn't have to be the holiday season. It could be any time.
That's right.
for people
Yes,
who are less
often,
fortunate than you or me or us or anyone, there's never a better time or a worse time. There's never a bad time of the year to try to help if you can. And if you got a good idea about someone or some group of people that need help, where we at KSCO and you know, Patrice can speak for her newspapers, where we can help, then I'd sure like to be able to. So I encourage you to get in touch with us. You know, so and not just
yeah.
around the holiday season, but anytime. So
And
anyhow,
in the
well,
perfect
good.
world, yeah, in the perfect world, I have often wanted to take Adoptive Family year round, but it just, you know, producing the papers and publishing all the other magazines that we do, it just takes so much grit to get everything out and running on time that there's just not enough hours in the day. But if there were ever a volunteer or two that wanted to help me make Adoptive Family year round, I would certainly love to do that. The need is
Give them
there
a
in
phone
our
number
county.
or an email address, Patrice.
Sure, yeah. Well, my phone number is 831-688-7549. My extension's 21 at the office, and I would certainly love to make that available to the community year-round. I think it'd be awesome.
Fantastic. Well, good.
Yeah.
So listen, it's great to reconnect with you. It's been a while. You and I have always shared sentiments about the importance of local media and independent media, and it's nice to hear that you have great plans for the future, and so do we.
Yeah, good. Well, I've always admired what you've done with KSCO. I think it's a very big asset to the community, and I hope that they realize that. I feel
it's up to us to be more you know, what's the word? Not active, but proactive, I guess is the word. It's up to us to be more proactive than we can. I'm very proud of our staff and what we've been able to do, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what we could do. Just so, I don't know, time and money and resources is what we all need to do a better job than we already do.
That's right. And you know what? Just in saying that, you know, it's with local media, with small companies like yours and mine, it's like everything that we can generate in the terms of advertising is what supports what we do. We're not some, you know, part of a big conglomerate where if we have a bad couple months, that conglomerate's making all the bills.
Yeah.
It's us that have to step forward and go, okay, what's our strategy now? And, you know, just stay in that survival mode so we can continue to do what we do.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that. There's been the Sentinel, which is the local daily newspaper for 160, 180 years, whatever it is, has been in the news recently for making further cutbacks into their news and to their operation. Now, definitely putting out a daily news. You know how hard it is to put out a weekly newspaper, you know, or multiple weekly newspapers or bi-weekly newspapers. Imagine what it's like to do a daily. So, you know, it's not just the Sentinel, but daily newspapers all around the country have been suffering and contracting. But someone pointed out to me recently that the Sentinel gets all of its advertising, and really, I mean, maybe not all of it, maybe 96% of it, from the national advertisers, and they just put in the national advertisers' flyers or you know, they just fold it into the paper. We don't get any of that. KSCO doesn't get any national advertising. The national advertising you hear on KSCO for big companies is baked into our newscasts, and we don't make any money from that. It's part of our contract to carry the news or carry the Rush show or carry any of the syndicated shows, which we carry very, very few of. We're in the process of changing our news provider right now as we speak. People have been after me for years to remove CBS News, because some people feel that though that is a long-standing, highly regarded, prestigious news organization, that they've sort of degenerated into more like CNN and, mostly biased reporting and so forth. I don't know whether that's true or not, but what I do know is that Boll and Branch, the sheet company, is they might as well call it not CBS News but Boll and Branch News. I heard 2 or maybe 3 Boll and Branch commercials in the break just leading up to this program. So
I did too.
For no other reason, we're dropping CBS News because of that, because we have to broadcast what they give us, and we can't change it or delete anything. And if they give us something that's the same thing over and over and over and over again, if they gave us 6 minutes of nothing but Boll and Branch, we're contractually required to take it and kill our audience. And I've been getting many increasing complaints from our audience saying, "Hey, I love your station, but it's driving me crazy because it's the Boll and Branch station. That's all I hear." And I believe that for every commercial that the Boll and Branch company purchases, they probably get 1,000 freebies. Because nobody would buy that many commercials. It has the reverse effect. You buy commercials, on a radio station or ads in a print publication to increase your business, not to kill it, and not make people pissed off and fatigued, so they want nothing to do with your business because they hear the damn ad so many times or see it in the print. Anyhow,
so what station? Who are you picking up?
We've got it narrowed down to Westwood 1, which is an unbranded news. We can brand it ourselves. Or Town Hall News, which is sort of. I'm not gonna prejudice people. We have it narrowed down to ABC, Town Hall, and Westwood.
Okay.
And after the first of the year, it'll be one of those that you hear. And but part of my negotiation is, if I have to hear Boll and Branch on those companies also, we're just not going to have news, or we'll make our own news. I don't want Boll and Branch or the same commercial over and over and over again. When I got the radio station almost 27 years ago, the equivalent of Boll and Branch then was Hooked on Phonics. Learn to read 800 A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and there were probably 850 commercials baked into the national feeds for the learning to read. What I said. This is the it's always someone. They never have enough people buying advertising, so they bonus. I mean, I'm just assuming that's what they're doing. They have to fill up the time with something. So if they're lazy, they'll fill up the time with the same commercial over and over and over again. And that's what CBS News does, and I think they suck because of it. And that's the main reason they're losing us. But I have a sinking feeling that it's not going to be any better with any of the other national news organizations, because the face of advertising has changed.
Yes,
no one's. I don't know of anybody who's figured out a way to compete with Google, online and with AdWords and things like that. You express an interest in something once, and all of a sudden, from that point on, all your online activities are dominated by ads for that something, whatever it is.
Right. Well,
Whatever.
It's a different form of marketing. It's a different form. I mean, there's many forms of marketing, and typically they all cross platforms. Mm-hmm. So it's finding the mix that's going to work for your company. But I can tell you that was a courageous thing to do, because it's no fun at all to listen to a commercial like that over and over again.
Courage. Well, thank you. That's a compliment, and I appreciate it. But I just think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
All right. So
don't
install.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for having me on the show. It's a privilege to be on your show, and I want to wish your listeners, I was going to say readers, but your listeners, a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. I love being on your show, and I'd like to do it again soon. So hopefully we can do that.
Well, you're a real fun person, but you're the busiest human in the world, so it's hard to catch up with you. But I did it this time, so I'll do it again.
All right. Okay. Thank you,
Thanks,
Michael.
Patrice. Take care. Have a safe trip back. Yeah,
Thank you
Patrice
so much.
Edwards, the owner of publisher owner of the Aptos Times, Capitola Times, and Scotts Valley Times, and a proud independent media person, owner. And we independents have got to stick together. You're listening to KSCO Santa Cruz. Hey, Jason, have we even opened the program yet?
I don't know that we have. Should we?
Yeah.
Good morning, a brighter day is here. Good morning, may we bring you cheer.
We've got time, we've got tunes, we've got time, tunes, and temperature.
Get up and go, it's today you know on KSCO Radio.
Okay, so you've been hearing me allude to my tiredness and disgust with politics. And I think it's time to get out of politics or not have it as much on talk radio. But more about that here.
Good morning, now stay right here on KSCO Radio.
So I'm... Oh yeah, good. Go ahead. I like that one. So those are aminal sounds, and the reason Jason is sprinkling aminal sound effects into the broadcast here is because we need to start promoting our upcoming aminal show. Yep. Starting 12 noon and going from 12 noon to 2 p.m. On Sundays. Starting, I think it's January 7th, somewhere around there, we're going to start having a 2-hour aminal program here on KSCO about your pets, and where you can ask questions about your pets. And by the way, you know where this idea came from? I mean, it should have been an idea that we should have had, 27 years ago when we first acquired the radio station. But better late than never, right? A couple months back, Doc Wallach was on George Norrie Coast to Coast, which has hundreds, probably over 600 affiliates, radio stations, and a lot of people listening online. And George talks to literally millions of people every evening. And Doc Wallach is one of George's preferred favorite interviews, and he's on a couple hours each month to talk about health and answer people's questions about health. Well, a couple months ago, I think it was the last caller of the monthly visit with George and his Coast to Coast audience was they asked an aminal question, and because Doc is also a doctor of veterinary medicine, right? And so then George said, "Hey, Doc, why don't we make the next program, the next 2-hour interview with you next month, all about aminals?" And Doc thought that was a great idea, and so did I. Not only did I think that was a great idea, I called Doc the next day and I said, "You know what George said about aminals? I mean, a lot of people care more about their aminals than they do about themselves or their human loved ones, right? And we should be doing an aminal show on a regular basis, and no one knows more about aminals than Doc Wallach himself." I mean, listen, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, this man has more experience and background and knowledge crammed into his head than whole civilizations, in my humble opinion. So yeah, so we're going to be doing more and more. More and more, we're going to be taking advantage of that, which we should have, for all of these years. Doc and I have been working together for, I don't know, more than 20 years, probably 22, going on 23 years now. And oh my God, Jason, thank you. I didn't even need to ask you to get Doc Wallach on the line. It looks like you have succeeded in doing so.
Yeah,
Let me bring Doc on right now. Here we are, Dr. Wallach.
Yes, sir, Michael.
Hey, you're there. Good. Hey, thank you for being good morning. Thank you for being available to us to do what we would call in the radio business a tease for this coming Wednesday evening's program that you do with George Norrie. You do a couple of hours with him every month, and the interview this particular month is going to be on the 20th, which is Wednesday night, from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight Pacific time. And of course, in other parts of the country, that's already early Thursday morning. But in any case, what we're going to do for the first time this Wednesday night is George is going to interview you, and the only questions he's going to have is from people who want to talk about their pets, or ask other animal health questions.
Sure, it's fabulous.
And so you have you're going to be with us for a little while. I know you're pretty busy getting things done for the holidays, but I'm going to invite people to call 479-1080 if there's anybody out there in our Saturday special audience who has any aminal questions that they'd like to pose to Doc Wallach. He'll be with us for a little bit here.
No foot fungus questions?
What'd you say?
No foot fungus questions today?
No foot fungus questions today. That's exactly right. Right, Doc? No, foot fungus questions. They belong elsewhere. But anyhow, if you want to call 479-1080 and ask a question, and if you don't, that's fine too. Maybe the typical Saturday special listener does not own a pet, and that's why they listen to the Saturday special as a pet substitute. Who knows? But whatever it is, the opportunity is there. Doc, you were and are a veterinarian. You were a veterinarian first. You're not a veterinarian first now, or are you? Would you say that?
Well, no, I'm still always a veterinarian. Once you are one, you are one. And, of course, I had the great pleasure working with Marlon Perkins from the Music of Omaha Wild Kingdom show, and did a lot of great work in Africa with him and for him on the white rhino conservation projects and the African elephant conservation project. Spent 2 years in the bush working on those programs, and actually did most of the early work on opioids and fentanyl and things like that, which I used as the tranquilizer to bring down these wonderful creatures and take blood samples. And so if you see a white rhino in a zoo or a wild animal park, it's either one that I caught or offsprings the ones I caught, because I caught 200 of them and shipped them to the United States. There's only 400 alive at that time, so we saved the species. So that was great.
I don't think you ever sleep, because you're so active and have been for many, many years before I've known you, and I've known you since, for 23 years now. My God. So,
yes, yeah. And I guess I think coming up in April or May of this coming year, I'm going to be the featured speaker for the World Wildlife Fund on species that are endangered and so forth. And they have some projects they want me to do, so it'd be wonderful. And, of course, I did a big project for the National Institutes of Health where I did autopsies on animals that had died of what you'd call natural causes in the big zoos around the United States, and also the people who lived within a 10-mile radius of the zoos, because they were all getting the same air, the same water, the same food from wholesalers going to the grocery stores, as well as shipping food to the zoos. And back in the 60s, this is back in the 60s, Michael, before you were born. And
no, it wasn't before I was born. I was born in 51, but I get the idea.
Okay. And the whole idea was, back in the 60s, everybody knew the Earth was going to end in 2 weeks from pollution. And since I'd written the first paper on a mass die-off in America from pollution, they wanted me to be the pathologist on the project and use the zoo animals dying of natural causes being fed human food and the same oxygen and the same water sources as the people in cities, if there was a canary in the mine, if there was a species of animals that was super sensitive to the pollution that was going to kill us, and we could use the zoos, the entire zoo population, as a canary in the mine concept and use them as an early warning signal. And I wound up doing 20,000 autopsies, 10 million chemistries, 10 million size of special stains, 17,000 and some change of over 454 species of animals and 3,000 humans. Netted, 75 scientific papers and 14 books.
All before you were 40, am I right?
Yes, that's correct. And my thesis, Michael, which was actually 5,000 pages, we kind of rendered it down to 1,200 pages, and it became a book called Diseases of Exotic Animals, and we were going to do the same thing for humans, and we got so busy we never got to the human one, so that's why I went back to school. One of the reasons I went back to school and became a physician, and we're going to add some chapters to that. At any rate, we wound it down to the disease of exotic animals. It went from 5,000 pages down to 1,200 pages, and you can buy them on Amazon, used copies of that book on the autopsies, 20,000 autopsies. And the bottom line of the study was, Michael, that every vertebrate, whether you're a human being or a hummingbird or a flamingo or a porpoise or a fish or a turtle or a dog or a cat or a rhino or an elephant, all vertebrates, when they get a nutritional deficiency, they get the same disease, which was a remarkable thing, because when researchers do either a nutrition project or a disease project or pharmaceutical project, they might wind up doing 50 autopsies on the experimental rats or 100 autopsies on the experimental dogs. Nobody's ever done 20,000 autopsies on 454 species until that project came along. And it's highly sought after. And so those books, the prices are outrageous for those used books on Amazon, Disease of Exotic Animals. Just for fun, Google it and see what the prices are in the used books they're offering today. And
who owns the rights to that, Doc? Maybe that should be republished.
Well, yeah,
it sounds like it will if you're going to add to it, right?
Yeah, we're going to add about 3 chapters to it. We're going to republish it, and it's going to be the 40 years of nutritional supplementation of humans and animals that has eliminated. We know how to eliminate 900 different diseases that doctors and insurance companies call pre-existing conditions. All pre-existing conditions are nutritional deficiencies of either the embryos, the baby's born with a birth defect, or you acquire it, when you're a couple of years old, a teenager, a young adult, or middle-aged or a senior. These are all really nutritional deficiency diseases. Just an example, we're the number 1 obese nation in the world. That includes our pets. And it's actually a deficiency of any one of the members of a certain class of nutrients. It's not due to eating too much or lack of exercise. Then type 2 diabetes, diabetes is going off the roof. Even England. In England, over a 10-year period, the rate of type 2 diabetes went up 75% because there's one nutrient that's deficient when you get diabetes. It's a deficiency of a single nutrient. We've known that for 83 years. And this includes pets. And, of course, in this project, I did the 20,000 autopsies. I'm finding type 2 diabetes in dolphins and porpoises and crocodiles and alligators. And I actually asked a doctor once. I already knew that it was a nutritional deficiency. But I asked the doctor, what do you think? Why am I finding type 2 diabetes in crocodiles and alligators? He said, well, he must have eaten a Baptist preacher who was on a mission in Africa who had diabetes and got the gene that way. I mean, how silly are these people?
Everything is genetic with a lot of these.
Yeah, there are no genetic diseases. There are no genetic diseases. They're all actually nutritional deficiencies. And so we have come up with a system that works for animals. We actually have an animal division in our Youngevity company, which I founded some 40 years ago. And the division that's for our animals, our pets, whether they're horses or llamas or dogs and cats and canaries, doesn't matter, fish.
Or even hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds, yep. Charmaine, she loves hummingbirds. She has so many feeders out there that she gets whole flocks of them coming in to her yard.
You're talking about Char Murphy, our good friend,
yes.
Your original distributor associate, from 26 years ago or something. So
27 years, yep. But at any rate, all these diseases, arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, macular degeneration, high blood pressure, heart disease, these are all nutritional deficiency diseases. Congestive heart failure is a deficiency of a single nutrient. I'm finding congestive heart failure in freshwater dolphins, birds of all kinds.
Yeah. Now, how do you? They don't speak. So how are you even know about that? I mean, you just the
These are through
symptoms, I
autopsies
guess.
and clinical examinations. Yeah, and so when you do 20,000 autopsies, you find a lot of stuff. And I'm seeing bodies of animals that died in the big zoos around the United States. We're talking about the St. Louis Zoo, the Brookfield Zoo, and Lincoln Park Zoos in Chicago, the Shedd Aquarium. We're talking about the Brooklyn Zoo in New York, the L.A. Zoo, the zoo in Denver, the big zoos in Philadelphia, Miami, Atlanta. These are the places that I worked and did autopsies on. In Atlanta, I worked for the Yerkes Primate Center and found the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis, found the cause, prevention, and cure of cystic fibrosis, found the cause, prevention, and cure of muscular dystrophy. I actually gave that to Jerry Lewis, and the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation fired Jerry Lewis right after the 2010 telethon because he wanted to release information during the telethon. They said, well, let's wait and let us review it, make sure Wallach's not lying. And the minute after the telethon was over, they fired Jerry Lewis and ended the telethons because they knew it would be a magnet, an attraction to me, because we already know the cause, prevention, and cure of muscular dystrophy, cystic fibrosis.
Wow.
Every birth defect you can name, including things like Down syndrome. I can actually reverse Down syndrome in the earliest of stages when the woman's still pregnant with the embryo 2.5 months or less. My most famous one was Lauren Knievel, Evel Knievel's niece-in-law. She had an embryo, was 2.5 months of age and had Down syndrome. We're able to reverse that. And these are the sort of things we do. All birth defects are preventable. Not one of them is a genetic disease. There's not one that's a genetic disease. They're all preventable, including, again, type 2 diabetes, things like sickle cell anemia. Andy Young from the Civil Rights Movement back in 1991, he contacted me and said, what? You're telling me that we could go to Africa in the tribal areas and give these young women in their childbearing years a supplement and we can prevent sickle cell anemia? I said, yes, sir, that's correct. We can end it. And he got so infatuated with what we do. At that point, I actually rebuilt his knees. He had bone-to-bone arthritis. He was scheduled for double knee replacement surgery. And I rebuilt Andy Young's knees in 90 days using just supplements, and he canceled the surgery at Emory University.
And the amazing thing is that it works for animals, too, even though they can't talk.
Absolutely.
People can recognize
we have this whole division for animals. This whole division for animals is called For Tails Only. And we like to do for animals. In fact, we did it for animals before we did it for people, Michael, where we did preventive maintenance. We do this in cars. We put oil in the car before the engine burns up. We don't wait till the engine burns up to put oil in the car. And in animals, we don't have health insurance. People aren't going to have a health insurance for very long anyway. But back in the day, animals didn't have health insurance. And so we just learned how to prevent and reverse these diseases very economically with nutritional supplements. And my own self, when I was a kid, I had problems that doctors threw their hands up and said, you're going to have to institutionalize him because we don't know what he's got. We don't know how to fix it.
Thank God you weren't institutionalist. Thank God your parents didn't buy into that.
Well, they were going to, but I cured myself in 3 days. After 5 years of getting worse and worse and worse, I had what's called Tourette syndrome as part of the autism complex, which doctors thought, and many of them still yet today think that ADD, ADHD, autism, and Tourette syndrome, which I had, they think it's due to red food dye. I mean, they're insane with these things, come up with really silly theories, and people buy into it, and they let the doctors institutionalize their families unnecessarily. They put them on drugs with horrible side effects, including death. In fact, that's one we need to talk about here in a second. I learned this in animals, okay, because we did the experiments on these drugs in animals first. I wrote many papers on this. And this Steve Paddock, the shooter for
Vegas.
Vegas. And then there was this Devin Patrick Kelly, the shooter in this little church in Texas, right? Yeah. And then just a couple of days ago, there was this guy who the FBI had for doing crazy things a little over 2 years ago. They turned him over to a psychiatrist who put him on drugs. And he dressed up like a teenager, went to a high school in New Mexico and shot up the school and killed a couple of students. All of these guys have the same deficiency. All these guys have the same nutritional deficiency. They put them on drugs. And the side effects of these drugs is suicide, murder, domestic violence, and paranoia. Well, these guys, including Steve Patrick, the multimillionaire that was accumulating guns starting in 2004,
Yeah.
he was deficient in this nutrient, and he was paranoid as a result of this being deficient in this nutrient, and he began to collect guns to defend himself. He knew there was bad guys out to get him, and he collected guns just to protect himself. He was a millionaire, so he could afford expensive guns and lots of bullets and things. And he was accumulating all these guns to defend himself because he knew the bad guys were after him because he was paranoid. Then in June of this year, he goes to a psychologist in Henderson, Nevada, by the name of Steve Winkler, like Henry Winkler, Steve Winkler, who puts him on some antipsychotic drugs. And within a month, he says, I can't wait anymore for them to come after me. They're going to get me when I'm asleep, so I'm going to go get them first. And he chose that event.
Well, I mean,
in Nevada.
this is very plausible. But how can you know this? How can you prove that?
Well, this is simple. This is simple. This is simple, Michael. What do you do to somebody who's weaving down the highway on their car and the police pull them over? They want to know if they're intoxicated, DUI. What do they do?
You give them a breathalyzer test. You have them try to walk a straight line.
Okay. Well, here's the first thing that every doctor who gets somebody, and when they do a physical every year, they need to do a hair analysis test on these guys and look for these deficiencies. It's a deficiency of a single nutrient. There was a big study on 27 counties in Texas, and the counties that had the worst numbers of murder, mass murder, suicide, domestic violence, rape, violent crime had the lowest amount of this nutrient in the hair compared to the ones who had the least amount of these crimes. They had the most of this nutrient in the hair. It's a very simple hair analysis, and that should be when people get an annual physical, that should include a hair analysis.
Wow.
You cannot tell by a blood test because the body tries to maintain a perfect balance of everything. It's called a homeostatic mechanism in the blood.
Yeah.
You cannot tell nutritional deficiencies or nutritional excesses by doing a blood test. You have to do a hair analysis. It's very economical, very cheap. Like it costs $100, and we can pick these people out in like 24 hours. We can pick them out, supplement them, and this big study on these 27 counties in Texas. Guess what? Our good friend, Dr. Gerhard Schrauser, was one of the authors of those studies, okay?
Uh-huh.
And the interesting thing about it, normal people have 400 times the amount of that nutrient in their hair, and people who are paranoid, who are depressed, manic depressed, PTSD, all those kind of things where they commit suicide and shoot up people, okay? Normal people have 400 times that nutrient than people who have those behaviors.
It's either lithium or selenium. What is it?
No. Well, you did a bad thing there by telling me.
I know, but we can qualify it by saying that a deficiency of a single nutrient. A single nutrient. If you go out and get that nutrient,
well, we don't want them to do that.
I know.
It needs cofactors.
Doc, I know that.
Now, here's the deal: get the book, or they may already have it. The book "Rare Earths and Cures" on page 344. It tells the whole story.
Yes.
The book "Rare Earths and Cures." Get the complete story.
If I hadn't asked you that question, one of the callers, and there's a big line of callers, would have asked you the question because you keep alluding to it. But you can also say you don't go.
I told them the same thing. Get the book. You cannot take one nutrient and take some vitamin C for a cold. That's nonsense. Okay, you need all 90.
Yes,
you're going to make things work
because they don't.
And so
work together.
I've learned that people do silly things. They will just go try to get the secret sauce and take that only and have a partial or failed experience.
Yes.
And then they say, well, it didn't work. Well, you didn't do the whole cake recipe. You got to do the whole recipe. You can't just do one ingredient.
Exactly. Okay. You want to take some calls?
We can take a few. Yep.
All right. Here's Mickey in Capitola with Doc Wallach. Go ahead, Mickey. You're on. Quick.
Hi, guys. Listen, I have a question for Dr.
Hi.
Wallach, please. Dr. Wallach, is the reason animals become extinct is because they're not needed anymore in the cycle of life?
Okay, well, it depends. If you look at the dodo bird, it went extinct because they occurred only on the island of Mauritius, east of Madagascar, off of East Africa, and the British sailing group. They were out for months, and they were starving to death, and they got on the island, and they took clubs, and these birds are flightless, and they killed them all and ate them. Well, they went extinct because a predator, us, human beings, killed them all and ate them. Then you look at the dinosaurs, which is one of my favorite subjects. They didn't go extinct because a meteor hit Belize and there's dust in the air. They went extinct because during the ice ages, in the fifth extinction, the ice went all the way down to the equator. Went all the way down to the equator. It was so cold that all the dinosaurs died. Now, why did all the dinosaurs die? Because they were poikilotherms. They were cold-blooded animals. They could not tolerate all the cold weather, and they just died of hypothermia.
Interesting.
All at once. And so there's many different reasons for extinctions.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
I was going to say, why were they there in the first place, dinosaurs?
Why were any of us here in the first place? I mean, again, there's thousands of species that have gone extinct since the beginning of time because of changing climate before we came along. I mean, there's been 5 extinctions.
Right.
Okay,
why
before human beings came along.
Why do Jews always answer questions with questions? I don't know. Why shouldn't they?
Where do we get our hair?
Hey, we gotta go. We gotta go. There's less than 2 minutes left before the news.
Michael.
Yes.
Michael, here's how you get a hair analysis. You get the book Rare Earths Ventures in Chapter 11. Tells you how to collect it safely, how to collect it, and how to save it, how to ship it, where to ship it. And in 2 weeks, you get a computer printout with all the answers to your minerals. Okay? Get the book
good.
Rare Earths Ventures. Chapter 11 tells you how to collect the hair, where to send it, how to send it, and a miracle happens.
It doesn't look like we have 3 or 4 people on, but it doesn't look like we're going to have time, certainly before the top of the hour, and I'm sure you have to go after that. But let me just do a promo for those of you who want to hear Doc Wallach and his aminal questions with George Norrie. Tune into George Norrie. Tune into Coast to Coast from 10 p.m. to midnight this coming Wednesday. And Doc, you and I had a conversation earlier today where we're going to start designating 1 or more days of your show, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, to discussion of aminals.
Yeah, we'll start out with 1 day, and make that people who call in about animals, we'll give them preferential place in the line. We'll just start out with 1 day and see how that goes. And pets are a wonderful thing. They're a great company for people, regardless of age or state of health. Pets are wonderful. And of course, they have these dogs that are just important for individuals to be safe, blind people.
And we're starting our own pet show on January 7th from 12 to 2 on Sunday. Anyhow, Doc, thanks for happy holidays to you,
Michael.
And Milan and everybody, and appreciate your being with us.
Don't forget, for Tails Only, our line for pet products, for Tails Only.
Absolutely. KSCO, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. Here is the 11 o'clock Bowlin Branch News.
Disappointing numbers for the president.
CBS News on the hour.
I'm Bill Rakoff. Republicans are poised to score a major legislative win next week as tax reform is expected to clear the House and Senate. President Trump says the reform is a key part of his economic program.
Because of what we've done with regulation and other things, our economy is doing fantastically well. But it has another big step to go, and it can't take that step unless we do the tax bill.
Democrats complain that middle-class Americans may score in the short term, but will pay down the line. Politico's Daniel Lippman.
If you talk to economists, that's the reality of the situation. Middle-class people will get a temporary tax break for a couple years until they expire, while the big companies, their corporate tax cut is cut permanently.
In a new AP poll, Americans are painting a pessimistic view of the country and the president. The survey shows less than a quarter of Americans think Mr. Trump is making good on the pledges, that he made to voters. 52% of those surveyed say the country is worse off since he became president. The Big Thomas fire continues to burn across 2 counties of Southern California. This is CAL FIRE spokesperson Heather Williams.
There's still evacuations on the Thomas fire. We're looking at 18,000 homes that are still threatened, with 94,000 residents that have been evacuated. So firefighters doing everything they can to get these people home, but these communities are still threatened by the fire.
The Thomas fire is now the 3rd largest in California history. Well, there are the seven famous words you can't say on the radio, and there are reportedly 7 words you can't use at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Here's WSB's Sabrina Cupits.
The Washington Post report said that the Trump administration gave the CDC here in Atlanta a list of 7 forbidden words, including fetus, transgender, and diversity. The Department of Health and Human Services, which oversees the CDC, in a written statement said today, the assertion that HHS has banned words is a complete mischaracterization of discussions regarding the budget formulation process. The written statement went on to say HHS also strongly encourages the use of outcome and evidence data in program evaluation and budget decisions.
The ex-wife of former NBA player Lorenzen Wright has been charged with his killing more than 7 years after the fact. Memphis police say Shara Wright is now charged. Wright played for more than 5 teams over 13 seasons. A happy holiday season for shoppers and retailers so far.
This is the first strong season in virtually every category in 5 years, especially in apparel and accessories, which had been soft the last 4 years.
Analyst Bert Flickinger. This is CBS News.
CBS News Radio, honored with the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence. Original reporting, right here on CBS News Radio.
What's the perfect gift this holiday season? A great night's sleep on a set of Boll & Branch sheets. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch, makers of the world's most comfortable sheets. Every set arrives beautifully packaged. Find out why 3 U.S. presidents love Boll & Branch. Try them risk-free for a month. Get $50 off your first set plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP. That's bollandbranch.com, spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com, promo code SLEEP.
Attention small business owners, you know how hard it is to get funding to grow your business. Next Wave Funding is a direct funder that can help you get the cash you need when you need it, even if your credit is not that great. If you've been in business for over 1 year, have at least $12,000 in sales every month, Next Wave will purchase your future earnings and give you the money you need. It's as simple as that. This is by far the easiest and best funding for existing businesses. Call 800-430-4566. That's 800-430-4566.
It must be, it has to be, with that big sound it's gotta be KSCO.
Good morning, you're listening to AM 1080 KSCO, Santa Cruz, AM 1340 KYMY, La Selva Beach, FM 1041, KSCO.com. You can also catch us in San Jose on 1079 FM and Salinas Watsonville on 95.7 FM. KSCO.com, ZBSradio.com. That's the archive. Check it out 24/7. 11:06. Jason Struby at the deck. Let's get a quick look at your KSCO King of the Hill traffic update. Collision on Bluff Road reported in Monterey County about 15 minutes ago. No injuries, thankfully. White Ford F-150 and a white BMW. Looks like they're blocking traffic a little bit. Traffic hazard, Halone Road, off-ramp from 101 southbound near King City, blocking both lanes. Looks like a tree down, and they're bringing in chainsaws. Traffic hazard, South Coast Ridge Road at Plaskett Ridge Road in Monterey County. And reported at 9:51, no details. State parks involved with that one. Otherwise, your major roadways clear. Highway 1, 17, 101, all looking good for now. A reminder, 2300 Portola Drive is where it's at right now. All weekend we are doing the sale. The Dog Wallach products are in stock. Dave's out there right now. He's got books. We've got all the Dog Wallach animal treats, dog treats, cat treats, Arthrodex for all your fuzzy critters. My cat loves this stuff. Cannot get enough. This weekend only, 2300 Portola Drive. Dave in the Dave Cave till 2. Jason's drive-thru tomorrow. 11:07, mid-60s today and tomorrow. Overnight low 42 degrees. Time for hour 2 of the Saturday special with MZ.
Yeah, so Jason, are both cameras active? So should I put one outside on the deck?
Yeah, that'd be great. While I play
Okay.
that thing.
I'll do the one that's looking at my nose hairs, the one that's so close up to me, because people would probably rather look at the pretty view than my nose hairs.
Probably. And just so you guys know, we're streaming live on YouTube. You can check us out, youtube.com/C, as in cat, /KSCO Global. youtube.com/C/KSCO Global.
All right.
Check it out.
Will you start the hour 2 jingle while I move this? So you sure you've got both of the cameras working? Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. I'm going to move this one that's looking at my nose hairs outside to something much more appetizing.
Oh, hello, darling. I hate to hang up on you, but I'm sorry, baby, but I have to go. It's time for that wonderful record show. I'd love to visit, but you'll have to call back. KSCO has the inside track. I'm sorry, baby, but I really gotta go to KSCO Radio. Bye.
All right, welcome to hour number 2. I didn't talk during that donut where I usually talk because I was out there on the deck at World Headquarters here in the city. And I've got to say, the wind has really kicked up, and it blew away all that crud in the air. It is probably the most spectacular, glorious, crisp, beautiful, colorful day that I've ever seen, probably anywhere. And I'm assuming at the Monterey Bay area the wind is kicked up too, so that's making the atmosphere very very nice.
A little breezy today.
Yeah, it's very breezy up here. So anyhow, here we go. Okay, so one of the things that happened this week is I was invited to an annual holiday party in the building where KSCO North is. There's KSCO North and there's World Headquarters. They're two different places. KSCO North is in a high-rise building. And I saw a notice in the elevator that you should come and meet your cohorts, on Wednesday. And it was very nice. I got to meet some interesting characters for sure. And they were all very, very nice. But when one of them found out that I was a Trump supporter, they weren't nice anymore. They didn't want to talk to me anymore, and they left the room. Now, that person's wife was a little, definitely not a Trump supporter, but she wasn't as intolerant as this person was, who was the nicest person you'd ever meet until he found out that I was a Trump supporter. And then, oh my God, suddenly I was a pariah. Couldn't even want to be in the room where he breathed the same air with me. Okay, so I know we don't want to talk about politics too much, but it's such a fascinating, thing to behold. I've never seen anything like this in my life. When George Bush was president, I figured I've never seen so much hatred toward an individual than the hatred of the anti-Bush people, anti-George W. Bush people. That's nothing. That's a grain of sand compared to what people who hate Trump are like. And I woke up and someone sent me an email with a link to a YouTube video of Donald Trump being interviewed on TV by Rona Barrett. Remember that name? I don't even know if she's still alive. She was sort of a busybody, poking her nose into everybody's social business type person. And I'm going to play a 4-minute interview with Donald Trump and Rona Barrett. And it's from Reelin' in the Years archives. Reelin' in the Years 66 is the YouTube channel. But you can, if you want to find it, you can just do a search. Donald Trump, Rona Barrett. You do it in YouTube search or you do it in Google search, it'll come up. But this is fascinating. I want to play this, so here it is.
You are a doer. If you could make America perfect, how would you do it?
Well, I think that America is a country that has tremendous, tremendous potential. I think that much like the mind, I think that America is using very, very little of its potential. I feel that this country with the proper leadership can go on to become what it once was. And I hope, and certainly hope, that it does go on to be what it should be.
This is 1980 and Donald Trump is 33 or 34 years old.
It should really be a country that gets the respect of other countries.
Is respect the most important thing in your opinion?
Well, respect can lead to other things. When you get the respect of the other countries, then the other countries tend to do a little bit as you do, and you can create the right attitudes. The Iranian situation is a case in point. That they hold our hostages is just absolutely and totally ridiculous. That this country sits back and allows a country such as Iran to hold our hostages, to my way of thinking.
You had a milquetoast of a president then, Jimmy Carter.
And I don't think they'd do it with other countries. I honestly don't think they'd do it with other countries.
Obviously, you're advocating that we should have gone in there with troops, etc., and brought our boys out.
I absolutely feel that, yes. I don't think there's any question. There's no question in my mind. I think right now would be an oil-rich nation, and I believe that we should have done it, and I'm very disappointed that we didn't do it, and I don't think anybody would have held us in abeyance. I don't think anybody would have been angry with us, and we had every right to do it at the time. I think we've lost the opportunity.
For some people, the ultimate goal in life has been becoming the President of the United States. Would you like to be the President of the United States?
I really don't believe I would, Rona, but I would like to see somebody as the President who could do the job, and there are very capable people in this country.
Most people who are capable are not running for office. Most men are frightened of politics today.
It is a shame, isn't it?
Yes.
It is a shame. The most capable people are not necessarily running for political office, and that is a very sad commentary on the country. They had major corporations and they had this and that, but they are not running for political office.
Why wouldn't someone like yourself run for political office? You have all the money that you possibly need. You've accomplished a great deal, even though you are only 34. I know there's a lot of things that you possibly can do in the years ahead. Why wouldn't you dedicate yourself to public service?
Because I think it's a very mean life. I would love and I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life, and I also see it as somebody with strong views and somebody with the kind of views that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but may be unpopular, wouldn't necessarily have a chance of getting elected against somebody with no great brain but a big smile. And that's a sad commentary for the political process.
Television, in a strange way, has ruined that process, hasn't it?
It's hurt the process very much. I mean, the Abraham Lincolns of the world. Abraham Lincoln would probably not be electable today because of television. He was not a handsome man, and he did not smile at all. He would not be considered to be a prime candidate for the presidency, and that's a shame, isn't it?
But if all the men are like you, then when are we going to get somebody who might be good?
I don't know. I hope it's around the corner, but I don't know. I really don't know. What I would like to be involved in is trying to help choose somebody or working with a group of people whereby they put up a candidate who would be acceptable to be a presidential, to be the president. The country, if we had the one man, and it's really not that big a situation. People say, well, what could anybody do as president? The one man could turn this country around. The one proper president could turn this country around. I firmly believe that.
If you lost your fortune today, what would you do tomorrow?
Maybe I'd run for president. I don't know.
Anyhow, what an amazing commercial interview that was. 37 years ago, that was filmed. 1980, as Rona Barrett said, Donald Trump was 34 years old, And here it is, 37 years later, and he's the president. Isn't that amazing? Anyhow, 479-1080 if you want to join the program here. It's MZ with a Saturday special, hour number 2 thereof. Jason is with us, and Dave is in the cave. I can't tell if we have somebody on the air, on the phone or not, because it somehow got disconnected.
Yeah, it's somebody still holding for Wallach. He wanted to ask an animal question.
Well, yeah, Doc isn't on with us, but if they want to, shade of difference.
He would probably want to rap with you for a minute.
Would you want to? Hey, I haven't heard that word for a long, long time. R-A-P. Do you? Let's see. Shade of difference.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you shade of difference?
Yeah, shade of difference, gray.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, Doc Wallach isn't with us, but is there anything you want to ask me or our audience?
It's interesting that you would play that, because I've heard not that long ago him interviewing with Oprah. You know, nobody had a problem with him, and they were talking about the presidency. But I remember a long time ago, Rona Barrett used to be on Good Morning America, and she'd say, "Hello, David," and "Good Morning America," and she was like the scoop person that, interviewed people like him. But yeah, I didn't get to talk to Doc Wallach, but that could be for another time. But I wanted to let you guys know that every week I try to listen to this program and Veterans Take Charge, but some of the other programs I just got to be too stressful. But so Saturday morning, even though I have other things to do, I listen to you guys, and I appreciate people like Jason too. So have a good day.
Thanks, so buddy. Do I. Now wait a second. Let me ask you something, Gray.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting a little sick of the talk radio primarily being political, because nothing gets done and people just hate other people more and more. And I sort of want to be a party to that. Not at all. Not sort of. I don't want to be a party to it. And so how do we do that without killing all of our political programming? Excuse me, and just having positive programming. I mean, that's what I'd like to do. And then maybe the radio station would get more advertisers, and it would be seen as a more positive force in the community than it is. Because if we're primarily political talk radio, then we're primarily angst-inducing radio. You can't listen to political talk without getting angry.
You could buy me a set of turntables for Christmas, and I'll spin records on Saturday nights.
Sometimes, but your one non-political or semi-political, the one that's a mainstay is the overnight guy, George Norrie.
Yeah.
I don't hear any complaints about him, but the one competition is Armstrong and Getty. They lean Republican, but they don't hate on people. But that's on other stations. But on KSCO, Veterans Take Charge. They don't just help out veterans. They help out other people, and it's serious stuff. So it might be boring to some people, but it's serious stuff. And then Pharmacist Ben, some people complain about him. He talks too fast, or why does he get on the air? If you listen,
what we could do with Pharmacist Ben with technology is we could have him be himself, talking into his microphone, and then we can run him through an audio processor that slows him down about 70 to 80%.
I'm not one of the ones that say he talks too fast and it's nonsense. If you truly listen and not just have the radio on, he's got a lot of good information, and we don't have to pay a dime.
Just like Dr. Wallach, that's right.
Yeah, and I advertise for you guys by word of mouth, just like I advertise for, Rose Nest, Cafe Rio, whatever. But I'm right here in Aptos. Not paying for parking, a beautiful day, and listening to the clear radio. And it's so much more relaxing than if I was, had to deal with a police officer ticketing you for just sitting somewhere in Santa Cruz,
Right.
And listening to hate talk. But a lot of people get on the air and say, "Oh, I'm going to listen to this, my favorite program," or "I hate this station," or whatever. But
I registered a name that I thought about in the middle of the night, and it's called Hate Free Radio. See, and I was thinking we should that should be our new logo. I mean our new slogan. KSCO AM 1080 FM 104.7 and all the others. Hate Free Radio. You like or you no like?
I do like it. That's perfect.
Of course, we would have to become Hate Free Radio first.
Well,
or it wouldn't be accurate.
There's a big difference between a host of a show and a commentator, and a lot of times, and on KSCO, there's mostly just commentators, and I'm trying to think of. Well, this seems more like you're a host and you're not just a commentator, like telling people they're wrong. But I thought, man, I would volunteer down there. I even came down there before. I couldn't get hired on. I guess I'm too ugly. But there's a couple shows that I had.
Wait a minute, this is radio. It's not TV. You can be ugly, and you just can't have a ugly or a hard to understand voice. We'll take anybody off the street, Gray. We have no standards at all at KSCO. Isn't that obvious from our programming?
No. Well, there's a lot of people that come on and there and they say, "Well, I'd like to have a show. I'd like to have a show." Like it's a simple thing. You just go in there and. But I know there's a lot of preparation.
Not really. People. You just show up. I mean, that's all I do. Now, yeah. I know people like Dave and people like Rosie. In the morning, in the show, the shows with substance, not the Saturday special. I just show up. But the other people, you're right. The other shows that are quality programs have some prep and quite a bit of prep that goes into preparing for them.
Well, and the other thing about because like I said, I only listen mostly. I mean, I used to listen to it like 24/7, but mostly it's the Saturday special. And Veterans Take Charge. And the one lady on Tuesday nights, I think, that does they pay for her to do the financial insurance thing.
Thursday night, that's Money Moves.
Yeah,
with Pamela Fugit-Hetrick in her orchestra.
Yeah, that's an excellent person. I don't know what she looks like.
She is an excellent person. She looks very nice. She sounds very nice, and she knows her stuff.
Oh, and I can't forget, because I forget what time it's on, so I can't listen to it. But the lady from England,
Saturday night.
Ruth Copland.
What?
Ruth Copland.
Dublin?
Copland.
Yeah, I met her at one of the parties, the KSCO parties, and it's like, wow, what a great person too. But I don't. She
sure is. She goes out and does woman on the street interview. Hey, listen, Gray, thanks for calling 479-1080. We appreciate it. Have a happy holiday season, okay? And even beyond then. Have a happy beyond then, too. Okay, who's next?
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, you know something, Jason? I need your help. The damn thing is just frozen. I don't know whether I have a lousy internet connection or what.
Sorry, I was just taking
a call
Rich here. I'll press take next for you.
Yeah.
So we have Rich and PG.
Right. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Rich. I'm very upset that my control of the computer is not working, of the phone system.
Well, that's okay, Mike. I mean,
but you're on. You're on. That's all that really matters, is that you're on the air.
And there's a lot more important things going on than your computer. Okay, buddy? Relax.
Yes.
Chill out. You put a lot on.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You put a lot on your show. Hey, listen, that hate free is nice. I like that.
Hate free radio.
I wonder how long that would last.
An hour?
I mean, I just listened to your CBS News, right?
Uh-huh.
And they said...
How many Boll and Branch ads were there this time?
I didn't listen to that, believe it or not. I developed this way to shut it off. I am so sick of Boll and Branch and Mr. Pillow, or My Pillow.
Mr. Pillow.
when I see my pill, I want to shoot the TV down.
And you know, these people have become billionaires when you know, a year or two ago they couldn't rub two nickels together because they got into a radio situation where I don't know this to be a fact, but here's what I believe. I believe for every one commercial they pay for, they get several thousand for free because the radio doesn't have, you know, they're dying. All the big companies all the big traditional media companies are dying. They're dying a very slow, miserable death.
Yeah.
Because no one can compete with Google.
Yeah. Well, it's the truth. It's the truth. It's just like watching TV. I don't even do it. I mean, I watched a couple of shows seriously, and the rest it's either I tape it or I just don't watch it anymore because of the large number of commercials.
Right.
But I was actually calling about some news that said 52% of the people are not happy in the direction the country's going, and I just why would they even say? I mean, I would like to talk to those 52%. The economy is going bonkers. The unemployment rate is great. What are they thinking? Who are these people that aren't happy with the direction? You know what I mean? Now, is that just fake news, Michael, that you have to put out there? You talk about hateful news. I mean, you know, if you wake up every day and you keep hearing that everybody hates this and everybody hates that, that's what's tearing us apart.
You got that right.
You know? I mean, and they say the same things. I mean, the president eats two things of ice cream and only gives one to... I mean, all this childish stuff. Instead of saying, wow, what a beautiful day, and the economy is doing good, people are back to work, you know, and we're bringing jobs in here and all that stuff. But that's what's getting us, buddy. That's what's getting us. And
I'm
love
afraid
the
you're
idea.
right.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Yeah, it's just,
okay,
it's
I'm happy. I'm happy you're
there
right.
There you go. I mean, let's get a discussion about that, and people have had a good life, you know, and we're getting ready to celebrate Christmas. And
do you think anybody wants to talk about someone who's had a good life?
I don't know, but I sure do. I mean, I'm a very lucky man. I came from the poverty in New York, and I went to the military, and as a result, I was able to go to school and get into businesses, and now I'm kind of semi-retired or mostly retired, and I'm living the American dream. Nobody gave it to me, Michael. So I'm proud to say that everything I got is because of
Obama would
work.
say, "You didn't build that."
I know, and I would say, "What are you talking about?" I mean, I had to get up every morning, you know, to deliver the newspapers. Nobody else did that, buddy. You know, nobody else went out in the snow and pushed through the snow and the sleet and the rain. I did. I carried those boxes up to 5 flights of steps and climbed over roofs and went down the other side, you know, carrying bottles and stuff. So that type of talk is just ridiculous. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of the young kids, that's all they're filled with. They're filled with that stuff, so they have no comprehension about how lucky they are to be in this country.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all I wanted to say, Michael.
All right. Well, listen, you got me excited about my domain, Hate Free Radio. I've had it for a long time, but now I want to do something with it. Let's just have, I'll have Jonty, our director of digital media, point. Actually, I can do this myself. It's so simple, even I can understand it. Point it to our KSCO, and then what happens is when we have hateful programs on, then we'll just turn them off. We'll turn access to hatefreeradio.com website off, so that the only programs you'll hear are KSCO programs that are hate-free, which means no politics, right? Does that sound like a good idea, Richard?
Yeah, Michael, you know how we'll enforce it? Anybody that gets on that's hate-free, that doesn't want to be hate-free, we kill them.
Good, I like that.
Have a good day,
How can I
bro.
thank you for calling 479-1080?
Just if you got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
Dave Michael says, please remind people that I have Wallach's books for sale as well as copies of Kay's books. Oh, God. Excuse me for belching on the air, because I just had some diet tonic water, and it had lots of carbonation in it, but 0 calories. So, yeah, I've been meaning to do this for a long time. We have about, I don't know, we have probably 27 cases of K's books remaining. And we wouldn't have any of them if we had half a brain as far as promotion. I should have made a commercial saying these are the best gifts that you could possibly come up with. And you buy the books individually at $10 each, or you can get it down to like $5 or no, 2 5s. And anyhow, much less. Oh, $7.50. That's what $7.50 if you buy it in case quantities, something like that. There's 28 in a case, and we'll sell you a case for $200. They're really Kay is gone now, except she's always with it. She'll always be with me and us in spirit, I think. And people have said that we should do. There are several hundred K's commentaries that have been recorded, and if we do, if we replace those commentaries and make it a sponsorable product on KSCO that businesses can sponsor, classic K's commentaries. And, while you're at it, the holiday is the best season to buy them for gifts, either individually for $10. What a great gift for $10. Or if you buy a case quantity, I think it works out to $7.50 or $7.12 or something like that for a case of 28 for $200. You can do that by coming down to KSCO. Dave has them in the Dave Cave. So anyhow, I put that out. I should make a commercial that plays all throughout the program schedule. Andres says, recipient he's the recipient of MZ's coveted Best Email Award. Emotionless radio is what I would call my imaginary radio station. Listen, Andres, you're really, really smart. I gotta say, I'm not with you on this one. It's okay to have emotion, but not hate. Emotion is the same as passion, and passion is what gets people to tune in. You don't have to. You can be passionate. The trick is to be passionate and emotional in a non-hateful way. But to say emotionless radio is the same as saying boring radio, I think. Anyhow, I always respect your emails and thank you. You are the recipient of MZ's coveted Best Email Award, but not today, because emotionless radio is what you would call your imaginary radio station. But I don't think so. I don't think so. MZ at KSCO.com if you want to, is the email address if you want to send me an email. 479-1080 is the phone number to call. And every time, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with this software. I just can't keep it moving. I mean, every time I look at something else, I have to start from scratch. Do we have any callers, Jason?
Oh, we do. We've got a couple.
All right, put them on for me.
Okay, here's Dave and Salinas.
Sick of this. Hi, Dave and Salinas.
Wow, I hope you guys give out badges for patience, because that seemed like it took a long time of painfulness. But,
no! Did I? Oh, God. Well,
yeah, you get a couple people that just babble on and on. It's talk show. It's talk.
Including
move on.
Including me?
Sometimes you babble too. But anyway, what I wanted to say was, when I was a kid,
thanks for sticking with us anyhow. Go ahead.
Yeah, I stuck it out. I'm sitting on my bed. I can't go anywhere. So back when Donahue, or maybe it was Merv Griffin, they had talk shows during the day on the TV. They had this kid at the time, and he was 12 years old, and he was swearing that he was going to run for president. And this guy was rattling off stuff like you wouldn't believe. I wonder whatever happened to him, because if you closed your eyes, he was not 12 years old. And it would have been kind of interesting to see what a person like that, dedicated and devoted to politics, would have turned out like, instead of being criminalized or sucked up over to the other side and bribed by money and everything, because this kid did not have that in him at all. It's pretty neat.
I wonder who it was.
I don't know. I can remember his face. He was a short little guy with dark hair, a nice suit, cleaned up. He looked like a professional politician then, but I wonder what he turned out to be like. But anyway, it was on one of those two shows, and he'd been on a couple times. And you wouldn't believe the kid was 12 years old, and what kind of president would he have made? And I think also, too, a little bit of sarcasm and hatred goes a long ways on talk radio so that you can get your side out a little bit. And
yeah, but advertisers want no part of it, which means we go broke or stay
That's
broke.
Not good either. That's probably what happened to a lot of the newspapers.
What'd you say?
I said it might have happened to a lot of the newspapers because they wouldn't change, or they just didn't go the way that people wanted to read.
Right.
It seems like I saw a paper the other day. I used to deliver the Herald on a kid, and I would dread Wednesdays. I was like, oh my gosh, Wednesdays was 3 or 4 bags of newspapers because of all the articles and the ads and everything. And now it's like, oh, what a breeze. I wouldn't mind delivering the paper at all now. It's only like a couple pages.
Because it's so light, huh?
Yeah, it's very light.
It's like your whole route would only weigh 1.5 pounds, huh?
Well, no, it weighed quite a bit. I could pack a bag pretty full, but I had one route had 105 people, and another one. It's the distance that killed you. If you had apartment complexes and people actually liked the paper, then it was worth doing it. But if you had to, go all the way down the end of the street to one house and then double back because of the wind and fight the wind and the time.
I used to have a paper route for the News Call Bulletin because they would take me at 8, and the Sentinel you had to be 10.
Yeah.
And I was only.
I think
8.
the Herald you had to be 12. They wouldn't take you unless you were 12. And I had 3 routes that I had scammed from other guys and took their customers. So at one time I was delivering about 300 papers on a bicycle, which was quite a bit back then.
It's quite a bit now. In fact, I'm not even sure there's a single paper with that much circulation.
I don't know, but mopeds started coming in, and boy, they were a blast. I got my route done in half the time. My backyard looked like a junkyard. My backyard looked like a junkyard full of all broken bikes going over curves with the weight and the cranks breaking and the bearings going out. And it was like it was a job just keeping the bicycles running, let alone delivering the paper.
Right.
But thank you for your time, and I got through Saturday. A couple times I've sat here a while and just
thank you
wow.
for calling, and thank you for putting up with people who are long-winded, including myself.
All right, sir.
I mean, including me. Okay, great. Jason, who else is there? I'm going to need you for the rest of the damn program.
Yeah, no worries.
I need you anyhow, but I mean, even to select calls, and that really sucks because I like to select my own calls. For some reason, it's just not working.
We got Lee and Spreckles.
Lee!
Greetings, Michael.
Hi, Lee.
I caught the portion that you were bringing Donald Trump back from the past to the present. And, our newspapers, our news media has been feeding us so much stuff that I love the truth. But our country came to the point it was about to go into the ocean, and Donald's almost in it a year now. And when somebody would post all that he's done, it'll astonish so many people that is pulling us away from the pit. And when we hate, if we hate something, who likes something that is absolutely toxic to a person's life, whether it's you name the subject, but where is this hate exactly? Could you define that? Like who do you have on that is hate?
I don't think we have anybody who is on that are hate. However, perception is everything. And there is a strong perception that KSCO is full of hate. And I think that's incorrect. What KSCO is full of is discussion of politics. And if you're a Democrat and you hear something in talk radio, something a political talk, that is not something you agree with, it is hate. Okay? Now, I don't agree with that. I'm just the more I think about it, the more I'm realizing that political talk radio isn't having any kind of a positive effect at all. If anything, it has a wedge driving effect that drives more politically divided than ever in its history, country even more divided. And that's what's bothering me. That's what's bothering me.
Well,
we have some great political shows with Georgia and with Charlie and with Alex Darnell, but I don't think any of them. I don't think any advertiser, or certainly maybe one or two advertisers, but that's not enough to keep the things going.
Well, I think I can certainly appreciate what you were talking earlier about the high cost of operation with the other lady that is established printed matter in Santa Cruz County, and so here we are today, and the one thing that you've brought to the table, and I'm not trying to cause anything but just the light on it, and when you had Alex at the Coconut Grove, and that what is coming out of this is both parties are pretty stinking, and where they were letting us go, and how they were manipulating us and controlling us, and literally selling this out to the world. I mean, Alex was shocked to find that Obama had given the entire incoming people of the world to the United Nations control. And for 6 years it had been going on, and he only knew it this year, found it. And so here we are today. It's critical to have discussion. It's critical to know absolutely. If you're a businessman, if you're a student that wants to frame your career on something, you better have a foundation behind you so that when you get to that point, it doesn't, the dollar doesn't drop and your customers fall out, or the student that is sowed sweat and intellectual time.
When you say have a foundation behind you, you don't mean the Clinton Foundation or that ilk, do you?
Well, he managed to weasel his way into to become our president, but the real presidents that are, I mean, the gentleman that called up from Pacific Grove and was talking about starting adding up on the good stuff. Well, that good stuff didn't happen without some serious changes, because we were almost going to be. Stuff. Well, that good stuff didn't happen without.
Wait a minute.
Huh.
Did I hear two Lees just for a minute?
No, that sounded like somebody else.
No, that was you.
Some serious changes, because we were almost going to be. Stuff. Well, that good stuff didn't happen without.
Wait a minute.
Huh.
Did I hear two Lees just for a minute?
No, that sounded like somebody else.
No, that was you.
I think you're cloning me. Some serious changes, because we were almost going to be. Stuff. Well, that good stuff didn't. Yeah.
I know what's happening, Lee.
You're recording.
I'm watching the YouTube channel, the Saturday special with MZ and guest Dr. Joel Wallach on KSCO 12, 16, 17. 11 watching now. What are we doing this for if only 11 are watching? I was hoping it should be 11,000 or 11 million.
Well, one thing that you just touched on to something that is absolutely, people have got to wake up, that Dr. Joe Wallach is, I mean, to be in Smithsonian honorably, I mean, to pound on the United Nations table, to be in 55 countries, and to touch a duck like me for 21 years, he's given me that golden opportunity of the high end of my life, and so I just say to you, Mike, you picked Doc, you picked Alex, Mom's book needs to be tied to reference to the little minutes that are aired.
The commentaries, yeah.
Yeah, I mean somebody that's really has both perspectives would have an opportunity. Your mom, yeah, she learned from the School of Hard Knocks. She walked the walk. She put the time in, and she was is a standard that is not evaporated. Her son is got a driving interest to touch the news media. I'm going to say there's more people to talk, but I just hope I would say this: hate is God hated things, and I mean I wouldn't want another damn Goliath over me. I wouldn't want, you know what I'm saying. I just
and the Goliath media is dying, is tumbling, and all media all traditional media is dying because of the online influence.
And one more thing that you've been working on and discussing, and I would like to throw this in, and that is that having a local news program that has real people, like there's a lady there, the Simon lady.
Oh, you mean Susan?
Simon,
right.
Yeah. I mean, all I can say is you've picked some dynamite people, and we did. I mean, there's one last thing. George Norrie, the day before yesterday, had a man on that really nailed this. Doctor nailed this global nightmare of geo-warming and what they're taking toxic junk out of the coal industry, out of the scrubbers. And that's what they're dumping in the sky up there. And our state, California Air Resource Board, all the agencies that should be protecting us, are letting all these lines. And look at that fire still burning south of us. And then the $600 million fire at Big Sur. They pulled the moisture out. They dried it out. They spun a whirlwind, and they fanned a fire. And all of a sudden, we people's 26 horses in one spot were burned up, and I mean this kind of stuff has got to stop. One last thing.
Okay.
I just say I would like to see people all get together and say, we've had it. No more lines in the sky. No more chemicals up there. What pilots are flying those sorties? Where are the air traffic controllers that know what planes are up there? Where do the planes come from? Who owns the planes? Because this man on Coast to Coast the other day, he pointed out that it goes all the way back to the same type of people that have been trying to control the whole world, and you need to have that man on, that doctor, because he cites a health a man of Key West, Florida, that is working in the state there, that is on the same page with him, and I'm on that same page too. I'm out of your hair. God bless you. Thank you for a Saturday special, Mike.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate the call from Lee and Spreckles. Who's next, Jason? I don't have a thing.
We've got Tony in Live Oak.
Oh, won't that be fun? Hi, Tony.
Yes, hi. Yeah, have you ever heard the phrase ad hominem?
Yeah.
Okay, there is no civilized discussion when people use ad hominem attacks. The definition is appealing to one's prejudice rather than to reason, as by attacking one's opponent rather than debating the issue. You don't need to call it hate radio.
So wait a minute, but I already have the URL, hatefreeradio.com. I already have it. So it seems, and it's something that everybody can understand. It's like the discount that everybody understands, half price, right?
Well,
if you say
75%, producing, yeah.
Okay, ad hominem free radio is going to be harder It's probably available. I could probably grab it if I wanted to, but
It would
hate-free
make
is
sense
easier.
to there are some intellectuals that listen to radio still, and that's what's happened in the last 20, 30 years. Ad hominem attacks on people has become de rigueur and maybe even revenue producing, but it's not really supposed to be in intelligent, civilized discussion at all. And as soon as you hear ad hominem attacks happening, like people attacking people and not their ideas, then you should just turn the radio off or just cut the guy off, dump him into the ionosphere, and let people have a civilized discussion discussing issues and not personalities.
Okay.
Think about it.
How can I thank you for calling 479-1080?
You can't. It's impossible. Thank you very much.
Okay, there goes
Bye.
Tony.
Bye.
So we've got the Colonel.
Colonel Terry. Hello. Colonel Terry.
Yeah, you seem, I won't say desperate, you seemed eager for some smart talk discussion.
Never.
So the big picture,
But go ahead.
the big picture is we are a species, and this could be very entertaining on radio and elsewhere as we've discussed. We are a species of getting to be 9 billion people going from 7 billion that have overpopulated this planet. We have also overpolluted it, over-extracted from it. And we are poisoning it. We are poisoning it so we can all live so nice and comfortably and have industry and electricity that's generated from fossil fuels and polluted the planet. That's a reality. That's factually, scientifically, overwhelmingly proven. The fossil fuel industry does not want to recognize that. And they're in a position to generate billions and trillions of dollars from their product, perhaps for the next 25, 35 years. And the executives will pay themselves huge bonuses. And the Wall Street banks that own most of their stocks, or a good portion of it, will make a lot of money. It's tragic. It's tragic that we cannot recognize the reality of what our successful species has done to this planet. We're poisoning our own sandbox. And the right-wing corporatist, fossil fuel industry especially, has generated a false narrative that is purchased by, unfortunately, the conservative wing of our population, politically and socially. You would think conservative meant we want to conserve the value of the planet. And that, MC, is a big, harsh issue. And it's not easy to be non-hateful or likable about that when there's so much generated false propaganda by the fossil fuel industry on this topic alone. And there's a reaction by others who are more informed about it. Now, there's some things where the left wing is stupid about. The left wing is stupid as hell about immigration into America. We
They
cannot
sure
absorb
are.
the third world.
Boy, I'll drink to that.
Poverty, nor should we. So, as I pointed out before, left wing and right wing are both stupid. I saw this in Washington, including working at the Pentagon, the White House, and with the Congress. And they both parties serve other stupid extremes. The left wing want to bring in all the third world here. The right wing is captured, the Republicans are, by the corporatist bankers and the fossil fuel industry and others, and the polluters. That's the reality. And I think KSCO has some obligation to recognize reality in this discussion. And it can't all be, patty cake, nice and friendly. I think that you ought to have a commitment to factual...
But we could strive for it to be patty cake, nice
I'm
and
finished.
friendly. Huh?
Okay, I'm sorry I took so long.
Okay. Well, thank you for being sorry. Who's next, Jason?
But I'm not entirely sorry, because I'm really pushing for reality.
Okay.
Facts and reality. And I think there's entertainment there and there's value to the local community as well. For example, the Cabrillo College bonds. My little group stopped us all from being ripped off $634 million for completely unneeded new construction at Cabrillo.
Thank you.
Okay? And KSCO helped do that, by the way. We got in the air with it.
Thanks for the call, Colonel.
Who's next,
We've got David Corsi.
Oh, good. Corsi. Hi, Corsi. Hello.
Hey, what your caller doesn't mention is that
immigration policy is also something big business supports. It's not that liberals support it. It's not that liberals or conservatives are anti-clean environment. It's that big business is anti-clean environment and is in favor of great, big immigration programs.
Exactly.
For business. Real simple.
Yeah. Right. Now, talk to me about your
Now
upcoming
about
program.
KSCO. Yeah. So now about Aminals or KSCO Pet Radio starting Sunday the 7th. I ought to get an old drag racing commercial for a promo. You know, Sunday.
Like that, huh?
Yeah, on KSCO. We're going to do a radio program. Doc Wallach, myself, maybe you'll come by, focused entirely on companion animals, pets, for 2 hours, beginning at high noon on Sunday, effective January the 7th, the first Sunday of the new year.
Can a horsey ever be considered a companion animal?
Sure. In fact, I say, rarely we will talk about birds, we will talk about reptiles, we will talk about horses. You could probably, in the KSCO listening area, do a whole show, do a whole other hour about horses and larger larger pigs, as pets. We could probably add an hour if you want to let us go till 3. We could do the horse hour.
Well, let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can do that. But for now, it's 12 to 2 on Sundays, starting.
And we'll do horse rescue at some point. Yeah, we're not. I mean, it's just that most people only care about dogs. Some people care about cats, and it goes down from there.
Hey, Corsi, tell me if is there any truth to the glue factories? Do horses go to glue factories? And if they do, how come other animals don't?
Some of them go to meat factories because other parts of the world use horse meat for things, including, I believe, dog foods, but I couldn't be quoted on that. But that's something I will add.
Okay.
What's in dog food?
Now, who would have ever believed that recreational use of marijuana would be legal? And that's about to happen here in California. Maybe it will be legal someday to consume horsey meat. Wouldn't that be fun?
It's legal to consume it. Nobody wants to buy it. In Europe, it's fairly. For example, those great French frites, French fries. The best ones are made with fat from basically below the mane of the horse.
Oh. Is that sort of like the belly of a swordfish?
I
love swordfish, but the belly is the best because it's loaded with fat. It's delicious. Yeah. So anyhow, Corsi, thank you for calling in. That's great. And
I had
it
a
looks like
problem. Go ahead.
Well, we have 34 seconds left in the program here, so.
And then the news starts.
Yeah, then Boll and Branch news starts at the top of the hour.
Oh, okay. Sounds good to me. I mean, the thing about the CBS, the ping happens and there's just enough time to give your call sign.
Right. Exactly. Well, listen, that's it. Thanks for calling in. We look forward to getting to know you, having you back in the fold. Okay. Thank you, Jason. And here comes That's All, folks.
Thank you.
That's all, folks.
KSCO, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. It's 12 News. Here's Boll and Branch News.
The firefight continues across Southern California. In Washington, tax reform heads for the finish line.
CBS News on the hour.
I'm Bill Rakoff. Powerful winds driving the third largest fire in California's history toward a wealthy community northwest of Los Angeles. That's forcing fresh evacuations. KCBS TV's Joy Benedict describes the conditions in the hills surrounding Montecito, about an hour and a half from L.A.
The fire itself has burned 259,000 acres. Those are new numbers that came out early this morning. 746 homes destroyed. Another